Hello, my friend. Get comfortable. I'm about to tell you a story. But first, if you're here for the first time, join our circle, subscribe, and share this video with your loved ones. Your support is the fuel for new stories. I'm very curious to know what city you're listening from today. Leave your mark in the comments. And so, let's begin our chapter. Sarah and I had been married for 8 years. I truly believed we'd built something solid, something worth protecting. She worked under my supervision at my consulting firm, holding the title of project coordinator. The house we lived in was under both our names, though I'd shouldered every mortgage payment. Her ultra-religious parents still believed she was their dutiful, church-going daughter. In hindsight, the signs were there: the sudden late-night work commitments, the secretive way she handled her phone. But I dismissed them. I trusted her completely. That was my greatest mistake. For our anniversary, I made reservations at Romano's, a classy Italian restaurant with linen-covered tables and a curated wine list. It was sentimental, too. It's where we had our first date. I arrived early and was already seated when Sarah walked in, with another man at her side. Tall, confident, probably mid-30s. She didn't flinch. No shame, no hesitation. She approached the table like this was business as usual. "Mark, this is Derek," she said casually, slipping into the chair opposite mine. Derek took the seat next to her, visibly uneasy but trying to mask it. "We need to talk about where we stand," she said, skipping any pleasantries. I didn't react. I sat quietly, hands calmly folded in front of me, and waited for her to continue. "I've been doing some soul-searching," she said, "and I've come to realize that I want something more exciting. From today forward, I want an open marriage. I need to explore different experiences." Derek shifted uncomfortably. From the look in his eyes, it was obvious this wasn't the version of the story he'd been sold. "An open marriage," I repeated, my tone neutral. She nodded, lips curling in satisfaction. "Yes. Derek and I have been together for about 3 months. We're in love." Just then, a waiter approached to take our drink orders. I asked for a whiskey. She ordered a red wine, for herself and for Derek. No one spoke again until the drinks arrived. "So," I said to Derek, gently swirling my glass, "did Sarah let you know she was married when you started sleeping with her?" His face turned red almost instantly. "She told me you two were already separated. That the divorce was nearly finalized." "Separated?" I turned to Sarah, my expression blank. "That's strange. I'm still paying your salary, both of our car notes, and the mortgage on the house. Doesn't sound very separated, does it?" Her confident expression wavered. "Mark, don't do this here," she said. "Let's not turn this into a public scene." "A scene?" I said, setting my glass down with quiet finality. "You want drama? Fine. Let's talk about what comes next. On Monday, I'll be filing a formal complaint with HR regarding your conduct. Our firm has strict policies about inappropriate relationships with clients, and you've crossed that line." Derek looked stunned. "Clients?" he echoed. "Derek Patterson," I said. "Patterson Construction. You're the lead on the Morrison account, right? 3-year contract worth nearly $200,000. And Sarah's been in a personal relationship with you during work hours while using company assets. That qualifies as misconduct. She could be terminated." Sarah went pale. She knew I wasn't bluffing. "Now let's talk money," I went on. "Our shared bank account sends me alerts for any large withdrawals. I'll be monitoring all activity from now on. As for the house, the vehicles, and every credit card I've been paying off, you'll both need to figure out your contribution moving forward." Derek turned to her, visibly shaken. "You said you were financially secure." "I am," she replied, clearly rattled. "Mark, you can't just—" "Can't what?" I cut in. "Enforce internal policy? Document workplace violations? Monitor our joint financial agreements? Every bit of that is well within my legal rights." I pulled out my phone and opened an email. "Derek," I said, holding the screen out toward him, "here are all the meeting logs you've had with Sarah, recorded in our system as client consultations. Every date, every time, every location. Funny how many of those so-called meetings took place in hotel rooms." All the color drained from Sarah's face. And another thing, I added, her parents, the ones who think she's still singing hymns every Sunday. I think they deserve to know what really ended their daughter's marriage. She grabbed my wrist, panic setting in. Mark, no, don't involve them, please. I pulled my hand free. You involved them the moment you decided to wreck our marriage. They should know the truth. Derek suddenly pushed back from the table as though he'd just been splashed with ice water. This is unbelievable, he said. Sarah, you told me he was fine with this, that you two had worked it all out. We did, she said quickly. Mark's just being spiteful now. Spiteful? I let out a short, bitter laugh. This isn't about spite. It's about consequences. You made your choice tonight. You made your choice. You picked him instead of fighting for what we had. That's on you, but don't expect me to finance your next chapter. Derek's eyes flicked nervously between us before he abruptly rose and reached for his coat. I'm out, he muttered. This whole situation is completely screwed up. He turned to Sarah, voice rising. You lied to me. About everything. Him, your money problems, even being separated. I didn't agree to be some supporting character in a divorce circus. And just like that, he walked out. No debate, no second thoughts, no goodbye. Sarah stared after him, her face contorting into disbelief and panic. Derek, please wait, she called out, voice cracking. But he was already gone. The restaurant had gone quiet. A heavy silence hung in the air as other diners turned to watch. Sarah slowly turned to face me again, visibly rattled. Mark, we can fix this, she said, desperation creeping into her voice. I messed up, I know that. I placed my glass on the table with calm finality. No, your real mistake was thinking I'd just sit here and let it slide. I stood, laid my napkin down, and gave her one last look. The check's in your name, I said. The hostess has it. I'm sure you'll manage. Consider it practice for standing on your own 2 feet. I left the table, walked to my car, and headed home. Still our home for now. The next morning, I scheduled a meeting with Jim Morrison, my old college buddy, and now one of the best divorce attorneys in the state for high net worth cases. We sat down over coffee in his office, and I laid everything out. She brought the guy she's cheating with to our anniversary dinner, I told him. Jim gave a low, incredulous whistle. That's brutal, even by the worst divorce standards. It gets worse, I added. She works for me. And the guy? He represents one of our most important accounts. There's a massive professional conflict. Jim's demeanor shifted instantly. He leaned in, legal instincts kicking in. That could actually benefit you. Violating company policy on inter-client conduct gives us grounds for immediate termination. And the house? I asked. It's in both our names, but I've paid every mortgage bill. We've also got about $30,000 in a shared checking account. I want half of that locked down. Good instincts, Jim said, already jotting notes. We'll file right away. I'll get temporary orders issued, freeze assets, secure accounts, put legal protections in place. I nodded. Her parents still think she's some kind of saint. They don't know any of this. You planning to tell them yourself? Yeah, they deserve to hear it directly. That Sunday night, I picked up the phone and made the call. Linda, her mother, answered. She'd always treated me like part of the family. Mark, how did the anniversary dinner go? She asked, cheerful and unsuspecting. That's actually what I'm calling about, I said gently. Sarah and I are getting divorced. A stunned silence fell on the line. What? Why? What happened? She showed up to dinner with another man. Said she wanted to open the marriage. Turns out she's been sleeping with a client for the past 3 months. The sound Linda made was like she'd just been hit in the gut, somewhere between a gasp and a sob. No, that can't be true. Sarah wouldn't do something like that. I wish it wasn't, I said quietly. I'm really sorry, Linda. Where is she now? She asked, her voice trembling. She stayed at a hotel last night. We haven't spoken since. I could hear Robert's voice in the background asking what was wrong. Linda tried to explain through her tears, then passed the phone to him. Mark, Robert said, his voice heavy. We had no idea. I'm so sorry. I know, I replied. You raised her better than this. I didn't want you to find out through court documents. You've already hired a lawyer? I'm filing first thing Monday morning, but I felt you deserved to hear it from me directly. There was a pause. Then Robert spoke, his voice quiet and shaken. Thank you for telling us. It's a lot to take in. I understand. Take whatever time you need. I hung up, feeling the weight of it all, guilt for pulling them into it, but also a sense of duty. They would have found out eventually. At least this way, it came from someone who cared. Early Monday, I arrived at the office ahead of everyone and rang human resources. Margaret, our HR director, was as sharp as they come, sharp enough that even minor violations didn't slide past her. Mark, she said professionally, what's going on? I need to report a serious conflict of interest, I began. Sarah's been involved in a romantic relationship with Derek Patterson, from Patterson Construction. Margaret paused. You're telling me this was a personal relationship? Yes, an ongoing affair. They've been seeing each other during company hours and coordinating through our internal systems. She didn't speak for a moment. Do you have supporting evidence? I've got everything, emails, calendar entries, expense records. Derek admitted it to me Saturday night. That's serious, she said finally. We'll have to launch a formal investigation before taking any employment action. I understand. What's the timeline on that? We can usually complete an initial review in 72 hours. We'll interview both parties and comb through the documentation. Sarah's taken a personal day today, I noted. I'll contact her tomorrow, Margaret replied. In the meantime, I'll begin pulling the client correspondence. Just after noon, my office phone rang. Derek's number lit up the screen. I hadn't anticipated hearing from him again. Mark, this is Derek Patterson. Mind if we talk? Sure, I said. What's going on? I owe you an apology, he began. Sarah lied to me. She claimed you two were already separated and moving toward divorce. Turns out, most of what she said wasn't true. Yeah, I replied. I'm starting to put the pieces together myself. She showed up at my office this morning, Derek continued, his voice heavy with fatigue. She wanted to know why I backed off. Started talking like we were about to move in together, like I'd agreed to support her financially. What did you say to that? I told her I wasn't ready for that kind of commitment, he said. We've only been involved a few months. How did she take it? She lost it. Accused me of making promises I never made, threatened to tell people I led her on. He paused. Mark, I swear, I never agreed to take care of her financially. That conversation never even took place. I believe you, I told him. I'm stepping away, he said firmly. This is too complicated. I don't want anything to do with someone else's divorce. You're making the right call, I replied. When the call ended, I couldn't help feeling a bit sorry for him. It was clear now. Sarah had wrapped him in the same falsehoods she once used to manipulate me. The following morning, Tuesday, Margaret summoned me into her office. A thick file sat neatly in front of her. I've completed my initial review, she said. The evidence is clear. Sarah used company resources to engage in a personal relationship with a client. That's a direct violation of our conflict of interest policy. What's the next step? I asked. Formal disciplinary action. Given how serious this breach is, and the fact that a client was involved, I'm recommending immediate dismissal. When do you plan to inform her? She's being called in this afternoon. She'll have a chance to respond, but the documentation is airtight. That afternoon, Sarah stormed into my office without knocking. You bastard, she hissed. HR just summoned me for some ridiculous investigation. It's not ridiculous, I said calmly. You violated corporate policy. This is revenge for Saturday night. No, I said flatly. This is about you misusing your position to have an affair on company time, using company resources. She dropped into the chair across from me like she still had some authority there. I'm not going down like this, she warned. I'll sue for wrongful termination. Go ahead, I said. Margaret's documented everything. 3 months' worth of evidence. Hotel expenses charged to the company card. Fake meetings. Personal emails from your work account. It's all there. Her expression changed. The arrogance she entered with began to crumble. Mark, maybe there's a way to fix this, she said quietly. No, Sarah. You made your choice on Saturday. What if I end things with Derek? It's already over, I told her. He broke things off yesterday, called to let me know he's walking away from the whole mess. Her face stiffened. He ended it with me? Apparently you brought up the idea of him supporting you financially. That was too much for him. She dropped her face into her hands. For the first time since the dinner, she looked genuinely shaken. I screwed up, she said in a whisper. You did, I agreed. Would you be open to marriage counseling? Maybe it's not too late. It ended the moment you brought another man to our anniversary dinner, I said. Without another word, she stood and left my office. An hour later, Margaret called to confirm HR had processed her termination. By Wednesday, things had moved forward on the legal front. Jim phoned with updates regarding the divorce. Some good news, he said. The court approved our request for temporary orders. All shared accounts are frozen. Mortgage payments will stay the same. Sarah is barred from selling or transferring any significant assets. How long does she have to respond? She's got 30 days to file. Her lawyers already reached out, trying to start settlement discussions. Losing her job shook them up. They know she can't afford to drag this out. What are they proposing? Standard 50-50 split. They want her to keep the house? She won't be able to keep up with the mortgage payments without an income. Exactly. They'll have to bring a better offer. That Thursday evening, I got a call from Sarah's mother. Her voice was worn and weary. Mark? She asked. We've been trying to get a hold of Sarah all day. She's not picking up. I'm not sure where she is, Linda. We're no longer in contact. We've been praying through this, she said quietly. We love her, but what she did, it was wrong. I appreciate you saying that, I told her. I just wanted you to know we don't blame you. You did everything in your power to hold the marriage together. Her words hit deeper than I'd expected. Thank you, I said softly. Please keep us informed about the divorce process, she added. We wanted to make sure Sarah was safe, but we couldn't justify or support her behavior. Of course, I said. That Friday afternoon, someone unexpected showed up at the office. A woman, roughly Sarah's age, approached my assistant and asked to speak with me. After being shown in, she introduced herself as Jessica, Sarah's cousin from Phoenix. I got on a flight this morning, she said as she sat across from me. Sarah called crying, begging to stay with me until she could get back on track. What was your response? I asked. I told her no, but probably not for the reason you think, she said, her voice steady. I've been following all of this through family chatter. My aunt and uncle are heartbroken. I'm sorry they're going through this, I offered. Don't be, she said without hesitation. They've needed a reality check. Now they're finally seeing who Sarah really is. Her expression darkened. This isn't new behavior. What do you mean? I asked carefully. She's done this before. Cheated, lied, manipulated people who cared about her. Jessica reached into her purse, pulled out her phone, and held it up for me. Here. Look at this. She posted on Facebook 3 days ago claiming you were abusive, controlling, and had isolated her from everyone. Sure enough, the post was right there, full of comments from people I didn't know, all expressing sympathy. That's completely false, I said firmly. I'm aware, Jessica replied. I commented on the post and asked her to give specific examples. When she couldn't, I started talking to other family members about her version of events. She slid the phone back into her bag. Apparently, she's been twisting the truth for years. She blamed you for her financial issues, claimed job discrimination when things didn't go her way, and even faked health scares that never existed. I leaned back in my chair, stunned. We were married for 8 years, and I never saw this side of her. Why are you telling me all this? Because my aunt and uncle are decent people who've been misled by their daughter, and because you deserve to know that some of us aren't fooled, Jessica said, rising to her feet. One more thing, consider this a warning. Sarah's in crisis now. She's lost Derek, she's out of a job, and her family's backing away. When people get desperate, they do dangerous things. What kind of things are we talking about? I asked. Accusations. Harassment. possibly stalking. She reached into her coat pocket and handed me a business card. "This is my lawyer back in Phoenix. He's experienced with situations like this. If she escalates, call him." After she left, I remained at my desk, trying to process everything. The woman I'd shared nearly a decade of life with suddenly felt like a complete stranger. The weekend passed without incident. No calls, no unexpected visits, no drama. For a moment, I allowed myself to believe that maybe Sarah had finally accepted the consequences and would let go quietly. I was wrong. On Monday morning, my assistant brought in a certified letter that had arrived over the weekend. It was from a law firm I didn't recognize, representing Sarah. The document accused me of wrongful termination, sexual harassment, and emotional abuse. It demanded she be immediately reinstated at the company, with compensation for damages. I called Jim without delay. After reading him the letter, he chuckled dryly. "This is desperation," he said. "Sexual harassment? You're her husband?" "We're still married," I reminded him. "Exactly. Which makes this even more absurd. Her attorney knows this won't hold up. It's a scare tactic, nothing more." "What should our next step be?" I asked. "We respond with the evidence. Proof of the affair, violations of company policy, and the complications with client relationships. Once they see what we've got, they'll back off. And if they don't, we counter with a defamation and extortion claim. Trust me, they don't want that smoke." Tuesday brought fresh trouble. Margaret appeared at my office looking uneasy. "Mark, we've got an issue," she said. "Sarah's been reaching out to clients directly." "Which clients?" I asked, already bracing myself. "Patterson Construction, for starters. She called Derek's office manager and said you were harassing her and trying to destroy their working relationship." "How did they react?" "The manager hung up, but Sarah didn't stop there. She also called Morrison Industries and Blackstone Development, telling them the same story. Things were unraveling fast." "How much damage are we looking at?" "Minimal, for now. All 3 clients reached out to me personally to confirm whether any of it was true. But this could legally be seen as interference with business contracts." "Can we pursue a restraining order?" I asked. "You'll need to speak with your attorney," she replied. "This has moved beyond the realm of a workplace dispute." I got Jim on the line immediately. Within 2 hours, he had secured us an emergency court hearing for Thursday morning. On Wednesday night, Sarah's father called. The fatigue in his voice was unmistakable. "Mark, we heard Sarah's been causing trouble at your job," he began. "Where'd that come from?" I asked. "She called Linda yesterday," he said, "yelling that you've been destroying her reputation and turning everyone against her." There was a pause. "Linda and I have made a decision. We can't enable this anymore. We love her, but she has to face the reality of what she's done." "I get it," I replied. "We've stopped taking her calls," he continued quietly. "We told her, if she wants to mend things with the family, she needs to seek professional help first." "That couldn't have been easy," I said. "It was the hardest choice we've ever made," he admitted. "But we can't stand by and watch her continue to harm the people in her life." The next morning, the hearing for the restraining order took place. It didn't last long. Sarah didn't bother to show, but her attorney tried to downplay the situation as a bitter divorce spat. The judge wasn't persuaded. "This goes well beyond a typical marital dispute," the judge ruled. "Interfering with clients and causing workplace disruption is unacceptable. The restraining order is granted." That ruling meant Sarah was now legally prohibited from coming near my office or contacting any of my clients. Later that afternoon, Jim reached out with an update on the legal side of things. "Sarah's attorney is asking for a meeting," he said. "They're ready to settle." "What brought that on?" I asked. "Mostly the restraining order," Jim replied, "and her parents cutting off financial help. She can't afford to drag this out anymore." "So what's on the table?" "They've agreed to sell the house. Once the mortgage is paid, you'll receive 60% of what's left. She keeps her vehicle and whatever money is in her personal accounts. You retain full ownership of the business and all your investments. No alimony. And the harassment allegations? They'll withdraw all of them. No strings attached. They just want this wrapped up." "When do we sign?" Documents will be ready sometime next week. The house sold within a month. After covering the outstanding mortgage and fees, Sarah ended up with about $25,000. It wasn't enough to start over in comfort, but truthfully, it was more than she deserved given the chaos she'd left behind. Bits and pieces of her whereabouts trickled back through mutual contacts. Someone said she'd gone back to Phoenix. Another heard she was working retail. There were also whispers that she'd moved in with a new boyfriend. I never made an effort to verify any of it. The divorce was finalized on a chilly Tuesday in December. I went to court by myself. Sarah attended the proceedings virtually from Arizona. Her lawyer filed the paperwork, and the judge approved everything without ceremony. Just like that, 8 years of marriage ended with a signature and a court stamp. Walking out of that courthouse, I felt a release I hadn't even realized I needed. Back at my new place, I opened a bottle of wine I'd been saving for a meaningful moment, then deleted every trace of Sarah from my phone. That night, a notification lit up on my Facebook. A friend request from Jennifer Walsh. Her profile picture showed a woman about my age, with kind eyes and a sincere smile. Her message was brief but friendly. Jim Morrison said I should reach out. Want to grab coffee? I clicked through her profile. She was a school teacher, divorced, seemed grounded, no red flags. I wrote back with equal simplicity. Coffee sounds good. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I felt a spark of real curiosity about what lay ahead. I blocked Sarah's number and slept soundly for the first time in months.